Okay, let's unpack this. We've got a stack of sources in front of us today. Skillings.net, Reuters, FT, quite a few others, giving us a snapshot of global mining right around June 15th, 2025.
Right.
Our goal here is really to pull out the key nuggets for you. We're talking critical minerals, deep sea stuff, regional shifts, market trends, the works.
Let's jump in. What really jumps out, I think, is this intense focus on materials for the energy transition. Critical minerals, especially rare earths.
Yeah, the sources definitely paint a picture of a global race to diversify those supplies.
And China's playing a big role here, isn't it? The reports say they've tightened up rare earth export controls.
Exactly, which puts pressure on, car makers, defense industries globally. So you see companies, some European ones, really scrambling now.
Looking for alternatives.
Yeah.
Negotiating with projects, like in South Africa, the sources mention.
But it's not simple. The reports also highlight just how complex and slow it is to actually scale up mining and refining outside China. We're talking years.
Right, it takes time. And adding another layer here, sources mention China-backed militias controlling rare earth mines over in Myanmar.
So China's diversifying its own supply base, too, in a way, moving some risk offshore.
Seems like it. Which brings us to the bigger picture question the IEA is raising.
Which is?
Well, that relying too heavily on just one or two countries for these critical minerals, it could actually undermine the whole clean energy transition. That makes it fragile.
So how do countries balance that push for clean energy with secure, diversified supply chains? That's the tightrope.
That's the core tension. And it's not just happening on land. If we shift gears a bit, deep sea mining is another really complex area getting attention.
Okay. What are the sources saying there?
Well, at the UN Ocean Conference, support for a pause, like a precautionary pause or moratorium, has grown. Now 37 countries, up from 33.
But there's always a but, isn't there?
Seems so. The sources also report the U.S. is kind of going its own way, advancing its own domestic permit system for deep-sea exploration.
Really? So bypassing the International Seabed Authority, potentially?
That's the concern highlighted in the reports. One company, the metals company, is apparently applying under this U.S. system already.
Yeah.
It's definitely stirring things up internationally.
Okay, so international rules versus national interest there. What about regional hotspots? Any volatility showing up?
Oh, absolutely. Look at Mali. Barrick Mining apparently had to suspend output at a big gold complex.
Why?
Government intervention, it seems. Changes in gold legislation. And that hit about 14% of their planned production, the reports say. Big impact.
Wow. That really underlines the regulatory and, political risks involved.
Definitely. And then you have environmental pushback, too, like in Indonesia, in the Raja Ampat area. Very sensitive ecologically.
Right. What happened there?
4 out of 5 nickel mining permits got revoked. Environmental violations cited in the sources.
So sustainability concerns are really starting to bite, clashing with those resource ambitions.
Exactly. You see environmental groups pushing hard, especially in sensitive areas. And sources mention similar things elsewhere, like Peru reversing mine plans near heritage sites. ESG is a real factor.
And technology.
Yeah.
Is that changing the game?
It seems to be. The sources point to India's big iron ore producer pivoting, moving into gold and critical minerals in Australia.
Shifting strategy, how?
Moving away from just, bulk sledgehammer approaches towards more precise methods. And globally, Australia, Canada are mentioned. There's lots of talk about AI, automation, electrification, robotics.
For efficiency and decarbonizing the mining process itself.
That's the idea. On the markets front, gold's had a massive run.
Yeah, I saw that, over $3,400 an ounce.
That's what the sources say, linking it to geopolitical tensions. And apparently that's sparking more interest in smaller mining companies, M&A activity.
Interesting. But despite all the focus on green minerals, coal isn't dead yet.
Far from it, according to these reports. Queensland, Australia, for example, still exporting huge amounts of coal, value around $85 billion mentioned.
And demand's coming from?
India, China. And interestingly, data centers are mentioned as a driver, too. So the global energy mix is still, very mixed.
So if we tie all these threads together, what's the big picture?
It's an industry navigating some serious cross-currents. You've got this urgent need for critical minerals clashing with supply chain risks and geopolitics.
Right, and the growing demand for all resources bumping up against environmental and social standards, the whole ESG focus we talked about, like in Zambia with mine closures and safety.
Exactly. Plus, throw in rapid tech changes and this constant regulatory and market volatility. It's a lot.
So securing the materials we need for the future, definitely not simple.
Not at all.
Okay, let's leave our listeners with something to chew on. A final thought, Fanu. Given this undeniable global hunger for minerals, but also these loud calls for environmental protection and social fairness, how does the world actually decide where mining is okay, whether that's on land or, under the sea? And maybe even more critically, who gets to make and enforce those rules?